Hello there, welcome to another instalment of Blues Rhythm Guitar, and in today's lesson we're going to be looking at ninth chords. Now if you don't already know what a ninth chord is, essentially it's a more sophisticated and jazzy sounding version of a seventh chord. We've been playing blues which up to this point have included all seventh chords, but wherever you see a seventh chord you've got the option of using a ninth chord instead for a bit of a more sophisticated sound. The reason it's called a ninth chord is because the chord includes a note which is the ninth degree of the major scale, up from the root of whatever chord you happen to be in. For instance, if we've got a C chord or C7 chord and we want to make that a C9 chord, we're going to add the ninth degree of the C major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. D is the ninth note, so we're just going to add that note in, and we've got our C9 chord, which is, as you can hear, is a very cool sounding chord. So we're going to be using all ninth chords today in this particular blues piece. As usual, we need our 1, 4 and 5 chords. We're in the key of C, so our 1 chord is going to be a C9 chord. The particular voicing I'm going to be using is this one, which is a very common ninth chord voicing. I'm playing the C root note with my second finger. The note is at the 3rd fret on the 5th string. With my first finger I'm playing the 2nd fret on the 4th string. Then, this is the slightly tricky bit, I'm playing the 3rd fret on the 1st, 2nd and 3rd strings, all with my 3rd finger. So I'm barring those 3 notes with my 3rd finger. This is a little bit awkward for most people to start with and will take a bit of getting used to. You actually just need to bend the first joint of your 3rd finger backwards a little bit just to get the right amount of pressure on that chord. The other thing to watch out for on this chord is that you're up on the tip of your 2nd finger and that your 2nd finger isn't leaning down and blocking the note on the 4th string. You want 5 clear notes in this chord. So that's our C9, our 1 chord. For our 4 and 5 chords we're simply going to move exactly the same chord higher up the neck until we've got our 2nd finger located on the root of the 4 chord, which is in this case is F. So we've got an F9 chord. 2nd finger is at the 8th fret here. The rest of the chord is the same, and then the 5 chord is going to be 2 frets higher than the 4 chord. So we're going to move that chord 1, 2 frets higher, and we've got a G9 chord. Our 2nd finger, the root note, is on the 10th fret of the A string here. So we've got 1, G9, 4, F9, 5 is G9. Now we're going to take those 3 chords round our 12 bar pattern, and the rhythm that I was using is what I call an on-off rhythm. That is, we're playing on the on beat and then we're playing on the off beat or the up beat. So on the 1 chord on the C9 I'm going to be playing on beat 1, and I'm going to be playing on the up beat of 2, which is the and of 2, which sounds something like this. You've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It's got that swung shuffly rhythm as we usually have with blues. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now with the right hand I think the best thing to do is just to keep your right hand moving up and down in time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we're just going to squeeze down pressure with our C9 chord in the appropriate place, so on the 1 and on the and of 2. So you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And the rest of the time we're just going to release pressure with our left hand fingers. We're also just going to keep our right hand moving. If you like, you can touch the strings and have actual scratches, or you can not touch the string, but still you should always be keeping your right hand moving and feeling that rhythm. So it should sound something like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4. That's down, up, down, up, like that. There is an argument to be made for playing that upbeat with a downstroke. I've seen some people do it kind of like this, and that kind of works well. You've got the consistency of having two down strokes, but I think to start with I would definitely recommend just keeping your right hand moving up and down all the way through and playing it with a down up kind of a feel. So that's our feel. Now it's simply a case of taking that rhythm round our usual 12 bar structure. This is a quick change blues, so we're going to be changing to the 4 chord, the F in the second bar, and then going back to C. The rest of it's the same as we've seen before. So why don't I play through the entire first 12 bars using that feel quite slowly so you can see how it all fits together. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Quick change, back to the 1, 4, F9, back to the 1, up to the 5 chord, a 5 chord, then we're back to the top again. So on the 5 chord I've just varied the rhythm slightly to turn the whole thing around. Just did it down, up, kind of thing, just as a little turnaround idea. That's the basic pattern. Now at the top of the lesson when I played it through, I played 2 12 bar choruses. In the second chorus I started playing it a bit higher up the neck, and I used a different 9th chord voicing, which is also a really common and really useful one. So let me show that one to you now. Now we've got our first finger playing, this is a C9 chord again, an alternative to doing this. We've got our first finger is at the 7th fret on the 5th string. Our third finger is at the 8th fret on the 4th string. Then we've got our second finger tucked in at the 7th fret on the 3rd string, and our little finger is playing the 8th fret on the 2nd string. And the thing to realise about this chord is it's what's known as a rootless voicing. We're not actually, it's a C9 chord, but we're not actually playing a C note in this chord. We've got an E note, which is the lowest note. And the reason for this is often the root in a chord is a dispensable note. It's got such a strong sound that you don't always need to play it on the guitar, and it's not always practical to play it on the guitar. In this case, the C note, you could, I suppose, play it with your thumb over the top like that. There's the C note there, but that's a bit awkward, and it's really unnecessary. So we're playing a rootless C9 voicing here. It does help though in your head to be aware of where that root note is. That root note is the C, which is at the 8th fret on the low E string. That's just going to help keep you orientated. Just visually, I like to see that imaginary root when I'm playing that chord, just so I know where I'm at when I'm playing through a blues. So what we can do is we can use this new voicing as our 1 chord, and we can then keep the 4 chord and the 5 chord the same. That way we're able to play the whole 12 bar sequence through, keeping everything in the same area of the neck, which is sometimes a good idea to do. The chords connect together smoothly in that way. So let me just quickly play you through a 12 bar using this position of the neck. We've got our 1 chord here, 4 chords in the same position in the other voicing, back to the 1, 4 chord here, 5 chord, same as before. Back to the 1 chord, 5 chord for the turn around, and back to the 1. Now that's the basic idea. As usual, there are a few things you can do to spice things up and make things a bit more interesting. What I was doing at the start of the lesson was using some more of this half-step approach chords that I talked about in the last lesson. You've always got the option to just momentarily play chords which are 1 fret away from the chord you happen to be on or the chord you happen to be going to add extra harmonic interest. So if I'm on the C9 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, I might do something like that. Usually on beat 4 in this case works quite well. So on beat 4 I'm playing a chord which is 1 fret below our C9 chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. It's going the other way, a chord that's one fret higher. That sounds equally good. And you can do the same thing with the 4 chord. You can approach the 4 chord by 1 fret lower or 1 fret higher. So once again, I'm going to play through our 12 bars. I'll throw in a few of these half-step approaches and you can see how that sounds. So starting with the 1 chord, 4 chord, 1 chord, half step, approaching the 4 chord, approaching the 1, above, approach the 5 chord, approaching the 4 chord, there we go, something like that. It's actually hard to talk and to play that at the same time, which I didn't quite realise how hard that was going to be. Okay, well, I think we've sort of covered everything that I wanted to cover in this particular lesson. As usual, you've got the task of transferring this particular idea to different keys, something that's going to be well worth doing. And also, as usual, there are going to be notes and tabs and a backing track up on my website if you want to check that stuff out too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for some more blues rhythm again very soon. Bye bye.